Hey everyone, Boylon here, and today we're going to do a deep dive into my Black Order roster, after some people have asked me to show my team off and what my power levels, gear, and ability are at for each of them. We're gonna start with Thanos because he's not actually listed as a Black Order member here. Basically, I have him completely maxed out. I got lucky on my red star pulls and way back in the day, and this was my first 7 red star, so naturally I just had to build him up. At the time, I was actually still using him for the tail end of Ultima 6 with my alliance aiming for 100%, and he was still getting quite a bit of use. It wasn't until recently that I maxed out his T4s, although I did have his passive done, like many have done to the ability energy that he generates, which is quite good. When Ebony Maw was getting a bit closer, I did decide to do his ultimate for that extra 50% piercing damage, and we'll go over to his empowered form here. So for Celestial Barrage here. Personally, though, I find that his basic actually has a lot of value. Most might not think that this is a huge deal, but when you're using him on the offense, you usually lead with this twice, and the damage plus the bleeds can really add up. And if you've seen any of my other videos on using them together, he really wrecks people. However, if you're just using Thanos for the empowered form and haven't built him up from prior usage, then I think my opinions on the T4s probably is I would start with his ultimate, Celestial Barrage, and then I would probably his basic, second, and then his special and passive. If you have a strong Thanos, I would say the ultimate and basic are probably the most essential for him. The only reason I don't rate the special higher is because I don't believe that the Black Order are that amazing on the defense, and when you play them yourself, Obsidian will be able to taunt on his own for 2 turns anyways. But if you have oranges to spend, then I would definitely grab the special anyways for our maximum buff and debuff flipping. So to review for Thanos, my T4 recommendations are as follows. First the ultimate, and then the basic, and then the special and the passive. So we'll go back to our Black Order roster here, and second we'll go to Ebony Maw. He's the one I've worked on the most and saved a ton of gear for, as you can see. I actually just got Maw to tier 14 this morning, but now I'm completely out of superior basic catalysts, so I don't know what I'm going to do to get the rest of them, anyone else really, up to tier 13 or higher. So there's not really too much to say about his gear right now, but I have found that at tier 14 he has had no problems applying ability block to other Phoenixes at tier 14, which has been a source of frustration for a lot of people using Ebony Maw and the Black Order not being able to ability block her. In terms of his T4s, I believe that his best one is probably his ultimate Force Transfusion. This adds the extra 25% speed bar to the Black Order and speed drain for the enemies, which has been really helpful in my arena offense battles. But on top of that, I think that his passive would likely be my second choice, due to its overall benefit to the rest of the Black Order. And really, it's more for the 30% resistance that he gives to the rest of the Black Order, not so much the 10% that he gets for himself. I believe due to the turn order in the arena that the special isn't completely necessary to T4, and I kind of consider it a luxury. You definitely don't need it to win any battles, and at least for me, it hasn't really made too much of a difference. And I would probably also say the same about his basic attack. Not completely necessary to T4, but if you're one of those perfectionists or OCDers who really need to get them all maxed out, then I guess you could, but you definitely don't need it. So to me, I think that the priorities for Ebony Maw would be definitely his ultimate, Force Transfusion first, his passive second, his special third, and then I guess his basic fourth if you really want to. So next we'll move on to Proxima Midnight. And this is probably going to look the same as the rest of my Black Order, is that they're all sitting at gear tier 12. And that's basically because I'm out of orange superior basic catalyst to do anything with them. So it's going to take a little bit of time before I get them to 13 or higher. Maw really ate into my supply of that, and they'll be sitting here for a good while. But in terms of the T4s for the abilities, I couldn't quite decide which one I thought was more essential to her kit or not. Definitely torn between the special and the basic. I do have tier 4 T4s into her special for the 2 turns of offense down on Star Throw, but I do plan on T4ing the basic pretty soon, and since it'll guarantee an assist with Corvus for more potential buff clearing. If you're really having issues with Ebony Maw landing his ability block on his passive, I can see upgrading Proxima's passive might help a bit. It gives an extra 10% focus to everyone, so if you're really hurting, this might help, but hasn't been a huge priority for me at this time, and I would consider it a bit of a luxury. Same for the ultimate. While the extra 25% speed bar is a fair chunk, I don't know if you actually need it to win any matches or not, and would consider it a luxury upgrade as well. So my recommendations for Proxima would be as follows. First or second would be her basic or her special. I can't really decide. I think you could go either or, and then definitely third would be the passive, and then fourth would be the ultimate. And so now we're on to our good pal Corvus Glaive. I actually got quite lucky on pulling red stars for him and managed 6 red stars, but I only have 5 yellow stars, so hopefully he is in the orbs net now though, so hopefully I might get, it'll take me some time, but maybe I'll be able to get that pretty soon. Same deal with Proxima for me. You know, I maxed out his purple gear at tier 12, but I just don't have the extra gear for oranges to take him much further than this. In terms of T4ing his abilities, I found this pretty easy. T4ing his passive Loyal Lieutenant was an easy pick for me, not only for giving him extra crit chance by 20%, but also improves everyone else's damage by 10%, so the Black Order get 30% damage increase with his C4 upgrade. Kind of in the same vein as Proxima though, I would consider his basic to be the next T4 that I plan on taking for that 100% assist rate for maximum buff clearing. And if you're using them yourself in whatever game mode, I feel that the basics are often used more when you don't need to use their other moves. Other than that, the ultimate and special to me are luxury T4s, I would say. If you have them at high yellow stars or red stars and you really want to push his damage further, it's not essential by any means, but you know, it's a bit of extra piercing damage on the ultimate and extra piercing damage on the special. Nothing super amazing, but if you really want to push them to that next level, then you could do that as well. So summing up Corvus, I would definitely do first the passive, second the basic, third ultimate, and fourth special. Finally, we get to call Obsidian. He's the tank of the group. Or, well, he sure tries anyways, if he didn't have to rely on his regeneration for his resistance to shoot up. One T4 that I was really quick to invest into was his passive. He counters a surprising amount of times, and that extra damage plus the HP that he gives to the rest of the team is pretty decent. Outside of this, though, I think when I have some more T4s, I will definitely put some into his ultimate, because the extra 110% damage that he gets from this is quite substantial. And his damage stat is pretty high already. And I have been able to stack up a few death proofs when using him, and so I suspect the extra 15% per death proof might also add quite a bit of extra damage. Beyond this, though, I would say that both the basic and the special are more luxury T4s at this point, but would rate the special a little higher than the basic since it does heal him more, and this has an added benefit of raising him above his 25% thresholds that he gets from his passive, so every time he lowers his hit points by 25%, he gets an extra death proof, so sometimes this might raise him up a little bit, and so when he drops back down, he'll get another death proof, kind of like how Hulk, when he drops less than 50%, he gets offense up, kind of similar to that. So, other than that, my T4 orders for call would be as follows: passive first, second ultimate, third special, and finally the basic. And really that's all of the Black Order plus Thanos for me. I would love to know what other people's experience are with using them so far. Despite the criticisms online, especially on Reddit, I'm having a lot of fun using them, and haven't really regretted putting resources into them. But I do think that there are some valid points, especially around Thanos' defensive turn order, especially arena defense, and him using a special on the second turn. And Ebony Maw's ultimate that might not be working as intended relating to his health drain. I'm sure there'll be more news to come, and if my opinion changes at all, I'll be sure to make a video on it. But that's all for me today, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please feel free to leave any comments or suggestions about future videos. And of course, hit that like button and subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content. Stay safe, everyone.